Hello, FFPs. Kira and Deana here for we just wanted to share with you really quickly today. It's been quite a week, and we both wanted to just make sure that we, while turning down our own voices for the week, was so important that you know where Future Focus Parenting stands and where we each stand. And it'll just take a few minutes. But we want to make sure you know what you can expect from us in the coming weeks and months, and then just get to hear our hearts for a moment. So, while we do plan to continue to release episodes, we want to remind you that we'll have Dr. Lucretia Berry on the 22nd, where we'll be having a candid conversation about race. She is going to be a super helpful resource for us as the founder of Brownicity and does a beautiful job of talking about these issues. So please watch for that episode to be coming out. And please know that while you've seen Kira and I post a couple times this week during this important time of elevating the voices of the Black community and melanated voices, that you'll also see that continue and that is by design and that is intentional on our part. So we want you to know to watch for that. Kira, anything to add for that for our listeners?
No, just that, we are committed to not just hopping on a bandwagon. This is a topic that we already had, booked. We actually had Dr. Berry booked for later this month. We've moved up her interview and her release date because of what's been happening, but mostly because so many parents are suddenly realizing that if they want to be a part of the change, they must start having these conversations with their kids if they haven't already. But the topic has always been on our radar and is something that's very important to us. And so we are just very committed to continuing with this cause. So you're not going to see it. You're not going to see it let up. It's not going to be all of our content, but it's something Deana and I are both very passionate about. And you will continue to hear us talking about it as events unfold.
Thanks, Kira. That's important clarification. It is important that we aren't just doing this while it seems like the hot topic. And so thank you for that clarification. I'm going to talk first, and I just really want our listeners and FFPs to hear from me as a Christian. And the first thing I want to say is I'm sorry, because I know that some, if not many of you, have had rotten experiences with Christians and quite possibly or probably rotten experiences with Christians around the race issue. And I just want to say boldly that I'm sorry if that's been your experience and that I do not align with that and that it hurts my heart that that is sometimes what is represented by the Christian faith. And it's just important for me to lead with that apology for any way in which, maybe knowing or unknowing, that I've been silent, which makes me complicit. And so I want to say that. And I also want to say that my beliefs do shape my views on this, and they are not necessarily the same as a lot of other people, but I don't care. I think it's more important to stand for truth and for what's right. So here is what I want to say to you, our dear audience. Because I have peace due to my faith, I want to be first in line to be going beyond the gentleness of being a peacekeeper to the boldness of being a peacemaker. I also feel strongly that because I've been dealt with justly by my God, that I should be first in line fighting for justice. And that because I've been loved beyond my wildest dreams by the creator of the universe, I have an incredible duty to love all of humanity, not just with my words, but with my actions. And there's this little song that I grew up singing, and maybe some of you are familiar with it. The lyrics are, Jesus loves the little children, all the little children of the world. Red and yellow, black and white, they are precious in his sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world. And I think we have no business singing that song if we don't also stand up for what is important and for Black voices and for Black lives and for people of color. And I know many of you will never meet me. You won't come chat with Kira and I after a speaking engagement or hear my voice on the phone as your parent coach. But I do want you to be able to say, even if you don't know me, that you know of me, and that you can at least say, I know of one Christian who stands up for truth and justice and peace and what's right. And I just wanted you to get to hear that with my voice today.
I think that my thoughts and views on this are not surprising. Um, I have been loudly fighting racism for as long as I can remember. I am that person at the party who says, "Hey, you can't say that." I have learned this week from listening, because I've done a lot of listening this week. I have learned that my voice needs to stay loud, but what I'm not doing is enough introspective work. And so Dave and I have been very committed to doing that work now. What do we hold without realizing we hold it? What thoughts do we think that don't match our values, that don't match who we are? How were we shaped by the time we grew up in and the community that we grew up in? And so that's kind of where our family is at. There's a lot of conversations happening. We're not going to talk about those now, but we did want our listeners to hear where we are. And we're sorry if some of you don't like that. We hope you know us well enough at this point to keep listening. As we said, this is not going to be the only thing we talk about. We're going to continue to bring you parenting content all the time, but we are going to keep talking about this. It's important, and as Deana said, it's our responsibility. Both of us feel that very strongly. So I think that's all that needs to be said today. We just wanted to kind of let you know how things are going to unfold, and what you'll be seeing on social media and maybe hearing in future episodes. For our listeners of color, our followers of color, our friends, our neighbors, we are with you and we see you and we hear you and we are wearing you on our hearts. Thanks for listening.